what becomes our prayer.
And another Sunday, it comes around so quickly, it's wonderful. And this is what we're knowing, that Amazing Grace, continuing in that feeling of July, Amazing Grace, shows up in many, many ways by means of you and me. So today, all over, throughout all of our communities, we're thinking about unity in diversity. We're thinking about different but the same. We're thinking about how life is by means of all of creation, and most particularly how life is and operates by means of you and me. And so we're called this week to celebrate, to honor, to welcome, to be one with an understanding that I am indeed one with Spirit, and that shows up by means of me being an individualized expression of Spirit, not just an individual. I am not just an individual. You are not just an individual. You are the individualized expression of Spirit in form. That's what you and I are, and that's what we're celebrating here today. And so as I look out at you all, I'm seeing all these individualized expressions of Spirit, and no two are alike. So we mustn't confuse unity with uniformity. Unity is not uniformity. Being one doesn't mean being the very same as everybody else. We're so not, and I don't have to convince us of that. And so you are all sitting amongst aspects of the divine showing up in human form, each and every one here. The divine, and nothing but the divine, in form, in human form. Now, of course, it's a conundrum and it's a mystery. Life is a mystery, an eternal mystery, and you're going to be in it and I'm going to be in it forever, unraveling it more and more and more. So there is that sense in which Spirit is the absolute, the first cause, the unmoved mover. Spirit as absolute, the same yesterday, the same today, the same tomorrow, never changing, always the same, always the one thing. Always the one thing. And then, because Spirit is absolute, Spirit can choose to experience itself and create many forms of itself, to become form, to know itself as you, as me, to know itself as a tree, as a bird, as a bee, to know itself as a sea or a mountain or whatever. Spirit has that capacity to do that, and so have you. Why? Because I am made in the image and likeness of my Creator, and so are you. I've been given a birthright, and that birthright is to know that I'm of the very same substance and the same essence as Spirit. But I'm that uniquely as Spirit in form, a particular unique form, me. There's none other like me. You may say, thanks be to God. There's none other like me anywhere. There's none other like you anywhere. I think we'd all agree that one of us is enough for the world to handle. All of us would agree on that. And so the conundrum is, how do I make sense of all of that? Well, there's one part of me that's always the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and there's the other part of me is God knows whatever, has all this various opportunity to entertain a community of Sibyls within myself. I could show up as any one of those characters I have in mind at any time. And hopefully when other people come along, it's a character that's, warm and welcoming and so forth. So that's what we're called to understand today, that unity doesn't mean uniformity, and being one doesn't mean the very same as. No, it doesn't. We're asked today to celebrate this week, to celebrate our uniqueness, our originality, and to do that in the form of everybody else as well. So what is it that keeps us separate and apart from each other? Because that is such an illusion to try and live, because by truth and the real essence of who and what we are interconnected and inseparable from each other. Each one of us is a mirror that we hold up. And anybody that looks into that mirror is seeing themselves, seeing only themselves. There's only the self to see. Each one of us is a mirror. And when I look into your mirror, I see myself, and there's no one else to see. There's only the one to see. You look into this mirror, you see yourself, there's no one else to see, there's only the one to see. Now, sometimes you say, I don't think so. Don't be holding up that mirror to me. You see, well, that's the egoic human mortal mind at work, separating us, divide and conquer. That's what the human mortal egoic mind does. It tries to separate us, divide and conquer, and keep us at loggerheads with each other. That's what that is. Now, the true essence of our being and our heart mind is a whole different story. There's something in us that knows, I cannot be separating myself from anybody. There's no them and us, there's no me and you, there's no he and she, there's just the one showing up in all of these amazing, different, unique, original forms. And somehow or another, the game of life is, I have to get to the point where I recognize that, and I see that, and I start to play the game. I start to understand one by one idea, one by one new feeling, one by one new person in my life, that I'm looking at spirit in form, and that this person is no different from me in essence only in form. And what makes the form do what the form does is our difference in the way we think and in the difference in the way we feel. But if we could all get on the same thought line, on the same feeling line, forms wouldn't matter. They would disappear. We wouldn't be aware of them. I love the story of the two young children who met themselves for the first time in the playground. They were 6 or 7-year-olds. They attended a multicultural school, so it was wonderful. You got unity and diversity all over the place. And they were so excited. At the end of the day, they were the closest best friends. They had found their BFF in the one day. And of course, they were giddy with delight. One of the little girls couldn't wait to share this good news with her mom. Mom, I have a new friend. I have a new friend. Penny's my new friend. And we're going to sit together. We're going to, get together and have playtimes and so on and so forth. And I want you to meet my new friend. Did you see her today, Mom? Did you see her? She was the one that was standing beside him when you came to pick me up. And the mother said, well, I don't know. Describe her to me. And she says, well, she looked exactly like me. She had glasses. Our hairs are the same length. And we both were wearing pink dresses. You must have seen her. You must have seen her. No, sweetheart, I didn't, but you would be sure and introduce me to her tomorrow. Now, in another world, if that child was in any way not identifying that we're all one, and in that beautiful state of childhood, she could have said, well, Mom, she was the white girl standing beside me. She didn't. That wasn't anywhere she went. It was how the same they were, the same length of hair, the glasses, and the pink dresses. And would that more of us were in that frame of reference and in that frame of recognition, that just like me, she was just like me. She was just like me. But that's not the way we are. So what is it that separates us all the time, keeps us in that illusionary state of they're not part of me and they've nothing to do with me? Well, of course, it's the fear that is set up through ignorance. Ignorance of not knowing somebody. We're so full of bias, we're so full of prejudice, all of us, to some degree or another, and we don't even know it. We don't even know it. So you hear, and even in spiritual communities, you will hear things like, oh, well, they just don't belong here. They're different. They're not part of what we're part of, and they don't believe what we believe, and really, they should go back to where they came from. They'd be better off there, and so would we. We hear this kind of conversation even in spiritual communities. Go back to where they came from? Can you imagine a wave in the ocean saying to another wave, well, what are you doing here? You don't belong. You're just so different. You don't look like me. You should go back to where you belong, because you don't belong here. Now, that's so stupid and silly, isn't it? Well, it's just as stupid and silly for us to be talking about each other in the same terms. And we will all go back to where we belong, every single one of us, like it or not, which is back to source. So this is a thing that we are taught. We don't come in like that. We come in like those little girls that found friendship and sameness and likeness in each other. That was very attractive, and they want to become best friends. We are taught to be different. We are taught to be separate. We are taught to think that we are this or that. We are taught that. So you and I have to unlearn all the prejudices we picked up as we were knee-high to a grasshopper and growing up wherever we grew up. And I'm not saying we necessarily picked it up in our homes, not at all. We can pick it up from our peers, we can pick it up in schools, we can pick it up anywhere we find ourselves with other people. And so today, the opportunity for you and for me is to get rid of all of that thinking and understand I'm everything and everyone and everything and everyone is me. Don't know how to explain that, don't know how to describe that. It's a feel I have, it's an awareness I have. It's something that keeps pushing itself into my consciousness for me to wake up and truly embrace, honor, and celebrate and understand that our sameness is beautiful and our difference is beautiful, and how wonderful life is because of the differences. It would never do if we all showed up the same way. How boring. We would die of boredom. We would. We'd make somehow or create somehow a difference. So to be comfortable with that, to get on the inside of that, and to understand that every single life is a unique story and life. Every single life is worthy of being listened to and read. Every single life has something to give me, to remind me of how vast and wonderful and amazing my life and all life is. Because I belong to everyone, and everyone belongs to me. I belong to everything, and everything belongs to me. Always and forever it's going to be so. Always and forever I will be inseparably and interconnectedly engaged in your life as you will be in mine. So it's never them and us. It's never him or her. It's never he or she. It's always the one, the one, the one, the one. So how do I show up as the one? And how do I greet and meet the one as I move through my day? That is the question. And I can meet and greet and show up as my best self, my best form. You hear people say, I'm not in such good form today. I'm not my best form today. That's so true. That is so true. But if I should manage to show up as my best form, I will guarantee you I will meet your best form too. Because I can only meet myself wherever I go. Now that's good news and it's not such good news. I can only meet myself wherever I go, wherever I am, like it or lump it. That's myself I'm looking into. I wouldn't recognize anything in you if it wasn't first in me. It would be impossible. Impossible. So here's what I want you all to do right now. I want you all to stand up if it's comfortable for you. Would you please stand up? Please stand. I know it's different. You haven't been asked to stand up in the middle of a, whatever. Now, close your eyes, please. Trust me. Close your eyes. Can you trust yourself to close your eyes? Nobody's going to pinch you or do anything if you close your eyes. Just close your eyes. Now, raise your hands in V form, V form, V form. Now you have just become our symbol in our organization. You have become the V into which Spirit pours itself, descends into, and is transformed and moves up and out from. You've become that beautiful V. Now turn the V into a crystal chalice. You are the container of the elixir of life. And that life is pouring into you from all directions. And the crystal is transparent in a way that the flow moves through it too. Now, as you see yourself as the container, become one with the elixir. And now you see yourself being infused with all of this great power and light and energy, and that is love. Unconditioned, pure love, energy that is light. Now, as you know yourself to be this energy, you are now becoming faceless. You are becoming formless. You are not a face, you are not a form. You are this power. You are this light force. You are the radiant essence of that which created you, and you have its power. Its power is yours. I am the life of spirit. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. That life is omnipresent. And now I'm going to allow that light, as I gather it and take it to my heart, take the light to your heart, the life, the energy to your heart, and now let your body that you've come back into be filled with that light, that force, that energy, that power, that love. Every bit of the body, the form now is being filled full of that light. And that light is the only movement, the only activity, the only thing happening and going on in the mind, in the emotion, in the body, and in the soul. I am now a unified state of being. And so say with me, there is one life. That life is God life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. And sit yourself down, transformed.